That was as crushed a locker room as I've ever been around, and I've seen some tough playoff losses. That's what Jay Skurski of the Buffalo News said after the Bills lost 33-30 in overtime to the Denver Broncos in the AFC Divisional round. It looked and felt like in that locker room that these players knew there could be some major changes coming to this Buffalo Bills organization if they didn't win it all. And they didn't. Blame who you want, but there needs to be some major changes to this Bills organization from the leadership standpoints if you want anything to change and to get 17, that Lombardi trophy. You're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith, and if you think the Bills need to fire somebody this offseason, go down below and like today's video. Hit that like button if you think the Bills need to make some major changes. And I'll tell you, I think that major change needs to be firing General Manager Brandon Beane. Look, if you want to blame Sean McDermott, the head coach, I get it. 13 seconds back in 2021. You can put that on him. Getting aggressive yesterday against Denver right before the half when you had no timeouts, could have taken the knee. Josh fumbles and they gift the Broncos 3 points before the break. You can blame that on him as well. 8 chances with Josh to win a Super Bowl or at least make one, and you haven't yet. That should be more than enough for any coach coaching 17 to get over the hump. So you can blame Sean McDermott if you want, but I think he coached the Bills pretty well this season. I don't think he's the scapegoat this time around. I mean, in terms of the injuries that this team had, and then his ability to still disguise coverages and make this defense overperform down the stretch of the season, because we know how bad it was at the beginning of the 2025 campaign, but I think Sean McDermott did a fine job this time around. If you guys think differently, comment down below and prove me wrong. But I seriously believe that the Bills must fire Brandon Beane if they want to get anywhere. You can trace a lot of these playoff losses and a lot of the deficiencies in this roster right back to the general manager. Now let's talk about it, man. When the number one thing that people talk about in terms of this team when it comes from fans, doesn't matter, outside fans, like neutral fans, national media, it doesn't matter. People know that this Bills weaponry, this Bills wide receiver core, is brutal. It's a bargain bin wide receiver core. You brought in Brandon Cooks, who wasn't on the team. He was jobless 6 weeks ago. Gabe Davis, who the only team that was really looking at him were the Buffalo Bills after he came off a major knee injury. Then he gets hurt again. They had Tyrell Shavers, a guy who was fighting to make the 53-man roster at the beginning of the season. Shout out to Tyrell Shavers, though. You're an absolute dog. But still, a guy who wasn't looked at very highly, not a high-priority weapon here. Mecole Hardman, who started the season on the Chiefs. Like, what are we doing? Like, it is inexcusable. And then when you think about the resources they put into that position, in the draft, it's awful. We'll get into the details of all that in a moment. I want to bring up this stat from the AFC Divisional game. Josh Allen was 20 of 25. We know Allen had his ups and downs in this game. There was more bad than good. But he was 20 of 25 for 247 yards and a touchdown while throwing to his tight ends, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, the running backs in Ray Davis and James Cook, and Khalil Shakir. Guys he's been familiar with, guys who have worked in this team. But there isn't enough of that top-end talent. And the guys around them are literal guys who probably shouldn't be in the NFL at this point. When targeting the Bills' 4 other wide receivers, he was 5 of 14 for 36 yards with 2 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. Those 2 touchdowns came inside the 10-yard line, and like anybody could have made those plays, to be quite honest. Shout out to Keon Coleman, though, breaking that tackle and reaching over the goal line. It was a nice play. But more than that, it's about the resources that have been spent on this position and the mismanagement of those resources, quite frankly. Against the cap this season, $28 million was spent on Khalil Shakir, Joshua Palmer, and Curtis Samuel. Josh Palmer signed a $30 million plus deal in free agency this past offseason. Curtis Samuel is still on a bad contract, and $28 million went against the Bills' salary cap in terms of all 3 of those guys. They combined for 4 touchdowns in 2025, including the postseason. All 4 came from Khalil Shakir. It is a gross mismanagement of resources. By the way, Khalil Shakir, not even the most expensive name. I think he actually is the cheapest name of those 3 in terms of cap hit this season. So it's absolutely terrible. And when the Bills could have went out there and improved the position because there were guys available, we know names were moved at the trade deadline. Rashid Shaheed was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Would have been nice for the Bills to pick him up. Just had a 95-yard kick return touchdown to open the divisional last night against San Francisco. What about Jacoby Myers, who Sean McDermott praised the addition of by the Jacksonville Jaguars at the trade deadline, who kind of really helped take their offense to the next level, even if he didn't put up the greatest stat lines. By the way, Sean McDermott throwing a clear shot at Brandon Beane when he said that. Brandon Beane wouldn't even give up a 2026 first-round pick to go out there and get Jalen Waddle, which was on the table. He wanted to give away the 2027 first-round pick. Yeah, that 2026 first-round pick, man, it really helped the Bills win that game against the Broncos in the divisional round. What are we thinking here? I mean, is a first grader running this organization? What are we doing? And then when you think about it even deeper at the wide receiver position, I can't believe we're only on this fraction of the roster at this point. We'll get to more. Trust me. They have not used the first round pick on a wide receiver. So even after they get tied up with all these bad contracts, you could rectify it by taking a wide receiver in the first round. They haven't done that. Instead, they've drafted Caden Prather in the 7th round. He's not in the NFL anymore. He's in the UFL, by the way. Keon Coleman in the 2nd round. By the way, you traded down for him. And who'd you trade down with? The Kansas City Chiefs. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. You gave him Patrick Mahomes, and now you gave him Xavier Worthy, who I'm not going to sit here and act like he's a superstar, but he helped beat you in the AFC Championship back in 2025. And then you also drafted Justin Shorter in the 5th round. He's not in the NFL. Khalil Shakir, good late round draft pick. You hit. You diamond in the rough. Good job. Marquez Stevenson, not in the NFL. Gabe Davis, his career might be over after the latest injury. Isaiah Hodgins in the 6th round. Hey, nice selection there. But guess what? He's had more success elsewhere than he's ever had with the Buffalo Bills. He was cut promptly. Their first picks in the NFL draft over the past 2 years also have not contributed to these playoff wins. A couple of them have. I can't say they haven't. Keon Coleman scored a touchdown yesterday, but he stinks. He was healthy scratched 4 times in this season. He was benched 4 times. He came into the league 2 years ago. Can't happen, man. Dalton Kincaid, love Dalton Kincaid, man. He's Josh's best overall target. He's the best receiving option in this entire Bills roster, but he gets hurt a lot. He's off the field a lot more often than he's on the field. And guess what? If he was available during the season, maybe the Bills would have been the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, and they wouldn't have to worry about playing last week and losing multiple players to injury and Shavers and Gabe Davis. They wouldn't have to worry about that if Dalton Kincaid was out there on the field more often, because we've seen the Bills' record. We've seen the Bills' scoring output when Kincaid's on the field. We've seen how Josh performs when Kincaid's on the field. He's got to be on the field more, and he affected the game yesterday, but hasn't affected a ton of them. Had a crucial drop in the AFC Championship last year as well. Kaiir Elam, do I even have to say anything else? Greg Rousseau, fine yesterday, but he just got paid $20 million a year. Is he performing like a top 10 edge rusher in the league? You could argue no. AJ Epinesa, first pick selected back in 2022 or 2021, whatever it was. He's a rotational pass rusher. He's good. Love the SWATs, line of scrimmage, AJ. Neither of those two guys, Rousseau or Epinesa, had a sack against Bo Nix. Ed Oliver, hurt yesterday. Played in the first half, didn't see a snap in the second half. He re-aggravated the knee. He was hurt. So all those first overall picks by the Buffalo Bills in the draft, I'd say 1 seriously helped you in that playoff game yesterday, and the rest, fodder at this point. Speaking of Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa, the Bills did not get a sack on 46 pass attempts by the Denver Broncos in the AFC Divisional round. What did Brandon Beane do to address this issue? Well, last offseason, yeah. Signed Greg Rousseau, 4 years, $80 million. Signed Michael Hoyt, 3 years, $21 million. He tore his Achilles. Signed Joey Bosa for $12 million. He regressed as the season went on. Really probably never recovered from the injuries that he suffered in the middle of the year. Signed Larry Ogunjobi for $6.7 million. He was suspended for the first 6 games of the year, as was Michael Hoyt, by the way. And Ogunjobi stinks. He never did anything. Oh, and then you drafted defensive line in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. Shout out to Deion Walker. That's my guy. Brandon Beane, even a broken clock's right twice a day. Is that what they say? TJ Sanders, hurt during the year, didn't really make much of an impact. Landon Jackson couldn't get on the football field. He was terrible. And then ended up getting hurt as well. And Deion Walker, steal the NFL draft. I'll give Brandon Beane props on that one, but if a 4th round pick is what's going to keep you your job, you shouldn't keep your job. So now the Bills and all the resources they put into the wide receiver position, the pass rush, have crippled them in terms of their finances. Shout out to Albert Breer for noting this. Citing a, quote, internal NFL cap report, Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated revealed that the Bills have the least amount of room to maneuver amongst all 32 teams. This report estimates that Buffalo is to be within $1.76 million of reaching the $279.2 million spending limit for the 2026 season. A couple of reasons for that being the case. Linebacker Matt Milano, he's got a void year of over $11 million to the Buffalo Bills. Joey Bosa, he's got a $7.2 million void year in 2026. Connor McGovern's got a $4.8 million one. Daquan Jones got a $3.7 million one. And AJ Epinesa has a $2.8 million one, as well as Ogunjobi with a $2.6 million one, all with a void year upcoming in 2026. That is like, what, $32 million? Yeah, like $32 million worth of void year, just basically paying them for nothing. So the NFL salary cap is expected to be a touch over $300 million in 2026. So cool, it's going up. Bills may have some room. The Bills are projected to be $3 million over the cap per spot rack. So that means, due to all the dead cap that they have coming into this season, the Buffalo Bills are going to have to move around some money. They're going to have to restructure, trade, extend, like some serious cap gymnastics in order to make any moves around the margin. If you think the Bills can go out there and sign one of these premier free agents this offseason, you're dead wrong. They can't afford to give out big deals anymore. This is the team they're stuck with, and this is all Brandon Beane's fault. Okay, I want everybody watching this video right now to know that. I hope you're sticking with me. I hope you have listened to all the mismanagements that Brandon Beane has suffered this organization. These are gross mismanagements of resources that collectively signal to me that this is not the man to run the team, especially to run a team with this talented of a quarterback. It should be easy for you to find people that work with Josh Allen, and yet you can't. Either that or you neglect to do it year after year after year. The Bills need to fire Brandon Beane, if anything, wants to change this organization. And look, when Brandon Beane does want to address those areas of need the most, wide receiver, pass rush, defense. I mean, the run defense has been the worst in the NFL for the past half decade, and he hasn't made any changes to it. I mean, you can blame coaching for that, maybe, but the players that he's brought into town, the talent evaluation that he does, it proves disappointing every single time. It's a miracle. Everybody talks about Josh Allen making the playoffs and having to not have to go against Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar. You should be thanking your lucky stars that he dragged this roster there. If you take Josh Allen off this football team, and I know that's a cliche, they're a 3 or 4 win team. Max. Bad. Because think about all the holes that this team put themselves in this season, and Josh had to pull them out. It's Brandon Beane's fault at the end of the day because he puts lackluster talent and lackluster players and the power of friendship over building an actual Super Bowl contender. So with that being said, I got on my soapbox about Brandon Beane. Maybe I'll make a video about Sean McDermott in the coming days. But you tell me down in the comment section before we sign off here, who should the Bills fire? Type BB for Brandon Beane. Type SD for Sean McDermott. Is it the GM or is it the head coach? Let me know who you guys think the Bills need to fire down in the comment section, as that will do it for today's edition of the Bills Breakdown. Make sure you give me a follow over on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith with 2 H's at the end, because my name's common, but I am not. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well, youtube.com/Bills News, for the latest and greatest on your Buffalo Bills as the offseason has begun. We'll see you guys all next time, and as always, let's go Buffalo.